So I've been trying to come up with a couple of different video ideas, and finally I think I've come up with something that's a little bit different. It's kind of similar to content that I post, like every week or so, with regarding like new episodes of My Hero Academia and Persona 5 or whatever anime I'm currently watching at the moment, right? And basically on a weekly basis, I will watch an episode and then I'll review the episode whilst I'm recording, and then I'll upload it sometime in the next like coming days or so. And some videos have been coming out a little bit late than normal, and that's pretty much just my fault, and I can't really do anything about it. Sometimes life just gets in the way. But I've been meaning to want to do something, different, and you know, I've been trying to branch out and try to do some different stuff. And with this new idea that I just came up with, not just like about an hour ago, basically it's very similar to content that, like I mentioned, of videos that I keep on making on pretty much like a weekly basis every other day or so, right? But this time I'm doing it with a series that's pretty much already complete, Naruto and then Naruto Shippuden. And Boruto is still currently going on, but that's an entirely different thing because the story for Boruto is about just the story of Boruto. Boruto is the story of Boruto and his character and his life as he continues to grow and become a ninja. But with Naruto Part 1 and Naruto Shippuden, this is Naruto's story of him from the beginning of episode 1 of him as a baby to him finally getting married and end up becoming the Hokage. So pretty much what I wanted to do with this, I guess type of video series, I guess I'm gonna do, is basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna watch a full arc of Naruto Part 1 to start off with, of course, and basically I'm gonna basically summarize the entire arc as short as possible, and basically just review it, say what I liked and what I disliked, and etc. etc. So of course, because this is the beginning of, I guess, a new series, I guess you can say. Basically, we're going to be talking about the early episodes of Naruto Part One, with episodes 1 through 3. Regarding the earlier like moments of Naruto becoming a ninja, and then afterwards when he starts becoming a genin, and then Kakashi then becomes essentially his Jonin master, and they go out and do missions together, and then the first actual arc itself starts with the Land of Waves arc with Zabuza and Haku. And this is going to be very interesting. So, I never done anything like this before. I've done videos kind of similar to this before, in the sense of the two videos that I made for My Hero Academia and me reviewing season 1 and season 2. Those are the only other videos that I've done something similar to this, but because I'm going to be reviewing each and every other arc, like every other week or so, depending on my scheduling on recording and stuff, this might take a little longer, and this is just supposed to come out every other week or so. This isn't going to be like an every single day thing because, of course, I have to watch the arcs itself because not only do I want to, basically review Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, but this gives me an opportunity to finally rewatch Naruto like I always kind of wanted to do in the first place. So I'm going to do that for Naruto, and then I'm going to do it for Shippuden whenever I get to that, of course. And then I eventually want to do it for Dragon Ball, and I want to do it for a couple other series that I've already watched already and finished, and that's pretty much it. So a lot of these anime are probably going to be anime that are already essentially finished, like Dragon Ball, and then Dragon Ball Z, and then Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, of course. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and just, kind of end off this segment of the video, and I'm going to go ahead into getting into the actual summarization of the entire beginning and first arc of Naruto Part 1. The series begins with the nine-tailed fox who is currently attacking the Hidden Leaf Village. Dozens of ninja try to stop it, but fail. That's until, of course, the fourth Hokage finally shows up and stops the fox from attacking the village by sealing it away in a brand new born baby. And that baby boy, actually, is none other than the main character himself, Naruto Uzumaki. And after that happens, that's where the story of his tale truly begins. Later on, it continues 12 years after the attack of the Nine Tails in the Hidden Leaf. Naruto is seen running away from a whole bunch of other ninja because he had painted over the Hokage's stone faces because he wanted attention. After finally getting caught by Iruka, he finally then returns to class and gets scolded for his actions. Afterwards, though, after a couple of comedic scenes, Iruka tells Naruto that he has to go and wash the crap off the Hokage's stone faces. But after he does that, of course, Iruka offers him to go out and eat some ramen. So once that happens, it's where Naruto then explains to not only Iruka and the audience that he wants to be Hokage one day and have the village acknowledge him for who he is. But first, he needs to become a ninja and become a genin before he can even continue on from doing that in the first place. So the next series of events continues on with him taking a test and in a practical exam, I guess you can say, of him having to do the clone jutsu. And he actually fails. He fails and he does not get the headband that you are given for passing this exam, and you get to become a ninja and a genin. But he fails. He was actually the only one who failed altogether. So Mizuki, one of the other guys that was there with Iruka doing these practical exams, shows up next to Naruto and he actually explains that there is another way that Naruto could potentially get a headband, and it's actually a secret, and that's to steal the scroll of sealing, or the sacred scroll, however you want to pronounce it. All while that's happening, Iruka is actually talking to the third Hokage, and the third Hokage explains to Iruka that he must know how Naruto feels to not have the love of a mother or father, because Naruto's parents died the same day he was born, and Iruka's died fighting off against the Nine Tails. After all that happened, Naruto goes ahead and steals the Scroll of Sealing. Once he does, he hides out in the forest and actually takes the time to learn a brand new jutsu. That jutsu is called the Shadow Clone Jutsu. After he learns it, Iruka shows up soon after and finds Naruto, kind of beat up and, kind of looked like he was training, and then soon after, Mizuki attacks the both of them. He specifically attacks Naruto, but Iruka throws him out of the way and defends him. Mizuki then throws a giant shuriken towards Naruto, trying to kill him, and Iruka actually defends Naruto by almost sacrificing his own life to protect him. And that's where Iruka starts to finally explain to Naruto that he knows how he feels and that he should have been there more for him. Naruto then decides to run off, and Mizuki tries to find him. Soon after, though, Iruka and Mizuki run back into each other because Iruka used the transformation jutsu to hide himself and disguise himself as Naruto, and he still obviously can't move around all too much. And then finally, for the first time ever in Naruto's life, someone finally acknowledged him for who he was, instead of just assuming that he's the Nine Tails and he's bad because he has the Nine Tails sealed within his body. And that's, of course, Iruka. Naruto soon jumps in and helps, Iruka by performing the multi-shadow clone jutsu and beating Mizuki until he couldn't move anymore. Once that happens, Iruka finally gives Naruto a headband, and Iruka graduates him from the Ninja Academy, and therefore Naruto could then start becoming a genin. After all that happened with Mizuki and Naruto learning a new jutsu, he continues his life as normal and actually meets a couple of new people. One of them being the grandson of the third Hokage named Konohamaru, and two other people that are actually going to be in a three-man squad with him, named Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha. And soon after, once that happens, they actually meet a Jonin by the name of Kakashi Hatake. He actually ends up becoming, I guess, their teacher or their sensei, where he takes the three of them out to go out and do missions. But before they can actually do that, they have to take this survival exam that Kakashi does with all the new genin that he's given. And basically what they have to do is they basically have to try to steal 2 bells from Kakashi before noon. And if they don't do that, they all pretty much fail and they have to go back to the academy. Of course, they all fail, and Kakashi decides to give him another chance. But this is actually a setup for a trap to see if they can actually, learn that teamwork was the most important thing, no matter what it is. Teamwork is always very important, and that's what the message and what the lesson was supposed to be for Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke. Of course, they finally learn that teamwork is more important. They pass, and they start going on various small missions together, all 4 of them. Of course, Naruto being Naruto, he is very aggravated and wants a harder mission. So the third Hokage gives him another mission, a rank C mission, where he has to escort a man named Tazuna to the Land of Waves, where he has to go and finish a whole bridge for his land and his village. On the way towards the Land of Waves, though, all five of them, Kakashi, Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Tazuna, they are attacked by two ninja, and it's their, basically just said without being said in the first place. Tazuna is being hunted by ninja and a man named Gato because he doesn't want him to finish the bridge. Gato doesn't want Tazuna to finish the bridge so that way he can keep manipulating and using the small village for whatever resources he can get from them. So in order to actually kill Tazuna, Gato hires some ninja from the Hidden Mist village in order to kill him. Of course, because Kakashi is a Jonin master, he defeats the two ninja that attack Tazuna, and they continue on their road towards the Land of Waves. Finally, they show up, but before they can actually get to Tazuna's home, they are then approached by a rogue ninja by the name of Zabuza. And Zabuza is a Jonin like Kakashi, but he's a rogue ninja from the Hidden Mist village. And he was hired by the same guy Gato to basically eliminate and kill Tazuna. After a couple of events from that fight, of course, Kakashi is able to manage to defeat Zabuza and pretty much get him to retreat. But of course, with the help of Zabuza, he has Haku basically pretend that he is a tracker ninja from the Hidden Mist village and takes him away before anything happens. Kakashi is then out of commission for a little bit, and that pretty much gives Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto enough time to be able to train more in chakra control, where they actually learn to be able to walk on trees and whatnot. So after all that happens, Tazuna is continuing to build the bridge, but soon after, one day, Zabuza and Haku finally appear once more, and they attack Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi, as well as Tazuna, and they create the Hidden Mist Jutsu, and it's there where Haku and Sasuke start fighting each other, but Haku proves to be a difficult opponent because Haku actually has something called a Kekkei Genkai. And because of this Kekkei Genkai, Sasuke pretty much can't do anything about it. Soon after, Naruto shows up, though, and it's basically then a fight of Naruto and Sasuke versus Haku, and Kakashi has to deal with Zabuza while Sakura stands next to Tazuna and protects him. Very soon after all this happens, though, Naruto actually manages to defeat Haku, and Haku actually sacrifices his own life for Zabuza because Kakashi was about to take down Zabuza, and Haku actually ended up dying because of it. Soon after that, though, a whole bunch of Gato's men show up along with Gato himself. Zabuza kills Gato, and that's pretty much where the story ends. Zabuza quickly then dies soon after, right after being placed to Haku as his body is then laying there on the ground, and it's pretty much it. The bridge is then completely finished. Everyone has pretty much escaped this with minor injuries for the most part, and they head their way back towards the Hidden Leaf Village. And Tazuna even names the bridge that he finished the Great Naruto Bridge. So that's pretty much it. That's the entirety of the beginning of the Naruto series and the first arc of the series. And now we're actually going to go into what my thoughts about the first arc was right now. Of the entire first two episodes and the first arc of the series itself. These are my honest, true opinions about the arc itself after rewatching it, and I might actually speak a little bit about my first initial thoughts after I first watched it for the first time, like over a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago at this point. I'm actually not really sure. But regardless, these are my honest, true opinions about this arc, and it kind of reflects over time as the series continues. And I thought the first episode was really good. I thought the episode was really, really good because the episode, starts off with exposition and a little bit of backstory that actually, will become more and more relevant as the series continues on after, part one of the Naruto series into Shippuden. But it starts off with a little bit of exposition between, the fourth Hokage and the third Hokage being the narrator, and then the nine-tailed fox who is attacking the village. And it just creates, exposition and backstory for, not only stuff that happened 12 years ago, but for Naruto and the reason that he is the way he is, and what others see of him. It's world building almost, essentially. And we'll actually get into how I really like how they did world building in the first arc in a moment here, but I was really skeptic the first time watching the series because I wasn't sure if I was going to like Naruto as a character at all, really, because I've watched a little bit of Bleach and I wasn't really that much of a fan of Ichigo. I thought Ichigo was just really arrogant and he pissed me off. And granted, there are some characters who are, infamous for being pretty arrogant and, who are always seen pissed off, aka Vegeta from Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. But with him, I kind of got over that. And I think that's because, over time, as you see him more and more becoming from a bad guy to a good guy, it's like you're kind of whatever about it. Ichigo is the main character, and he's supposed to be the good guy, and he's supposed to be the guy I'm rooting for. But he seems always like extremely arrogant. He seems like really pissed off all the time, and it just got under my skin. I just didn't continue watching the series, and that's what I was afraid was going to happen watching the Naruto series. But after you learn about Naruto and his characteristics, in a sense of he's just this crazy kid who's trying to do crazy antics in order to get attention, like painting on the Hokage stone faces, that's kind of serious, especially because the Hokage is, basically the leader ninja, the top guy in the village, the village hidden in the leaves. And then you find out his backstory and, more exposition about his character. And you learn that he lost his parents. He lost his parents the day he was born. And because of the fact that the fourth Hokage had sealed the nine-tailed fox within, him as a baby, and everybody sees him either as the fox itself, or one day the fox is actually going to escape from his body and start attacking the village again, it creates more, what's the word I'm trying to use? What's the word I'm trying to think of? It creates more distress for the main character, because then you realize that he is actually, really affected by all of this. He's really affected by growing up to not have a family and not have a mother or father, and to have everybody basically just wish that he was dead and he never existed, all because of the fact that the Nine Tails is sealed inside his body, and he didn't even really do anything. And there were only a handful of people that actually knew, and then, because he had to go, into the Ninja Academy and try to become a ninja, because of the kid's parents not liking Naruto, it therefore led to the kids in his classroom not liking him as well. So essentially he was alone from the get-go. And not only that, he had nothing going for him. He couldn't even perform a simple clone jutsu from the beginning. He had nothing going for him. And then you find the small relationship he had with Iruka. And then you find his backstory and how he sympathizes with Naruto, and eventually it gets to the point at the end of the first episode where Iruka, is starting to understand more why Naruto does the things that he does, and he acknowledges him. He acknowledges him like no one else has done before, and that's really important. And that's really, really important because, again, that all comes full circle towards later on in the end of the series, later on towards the continuance of the series and towards the end of the series. It's very, very important. And Iruka was the first person to actually, point Naruto to a good direction. And as soon as he got a headband, and as soon as he got, to being towards the next step of becoming, unironically, the most powerful shinobi of all of, history, the fact that this small thing could have changed his life, it's important. It's a very important thing, and I'm glad it was in the first episode, and then the story continues on. And then the whole part about with Konohamaru in the second episode, I thought that was funny. I thought that was fun. Konohamaru is kind of just like a fun character. He's there just kind of for comedic relief, and I like the relationship that he has with Naruto. I think it's pretty funny. I think it's pretty interesting. And whenever they do interact with each other, for example, what's going to happen again soon after in Chunin exams, before the Chunin exams actually start, it's going to happen again, and they have a little funny moment together. And Konohamaru even gets his own 3-man squad, kind of like his gang, and it's kind of funny. It's funny. It's really, really funny. And then you meet all the other members of the cast, or at least a handful of them, like Shikamaru, Hinata, Sasuke and Sakura, and then you meet Kakashi, and Sasuke, he's pretty much your typical kind of loner type, and shonen anime, and that's not really a surprise at all. I was interested to see what he was going to do, and then, of course, he impressed me later on, and I wasn't really surprised at all because that tends to really happen anyways. And Sasuke is one of the most popular characters in all of the series, so yeah, whatever, right? And then Sakura, I'm not gonna lie, Sakura fucking disappoints me in the series. At least in part one. In part one, she really disappoints me. But in Shippuden, she does a couple of stuff that's actually kind of cool, I guess. And then in Boruto, she actually has arguably one of the best fight scenes. Unironically, I know, or ironic, I know, whatever, right? But I like Naruto, I like Sasuke, I like Kakashi, I like a lot of characters in this series, and to a certain extent, I even like Sakura. But Sakura really just fucking disappoints me in this fucking series because she actually doesn't do anything. She actually doesn't do anything until, right around the first arc in Shippuden, where she actually then, becomes an asset to a fucking team. And that's pretty much it. She does basically fucking nothing besides crying over Sasuke not loving her, which is annoying. I like the whole, thing that Kakashi did with the whole survival test. I like how they put the three, main characters of the series, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, in this state of where if they don't, take the bells from Kakashi, they basically won't become Genin, and it almost seems like the series won't even continue after then, and Naruto's just gonna have to figure out what to do something else. What I also like about that whole sequence of events is, like I said, world building. They explain taijutsu, genjutsu, and ninjutsu. And they explain it really well. I like how they did that. They explained the three types of, type of jutsu, I guess you can say, to, the viewer who's watching the series. With taijutsu being, essentially hand-to-hand combat, or, using, kunai or shuriken or stuff or whatever, right? And then there's genjutsu, which is basically just illusions that where you infuse chakra into someone else's mind. I forgot the explanation for Genjutsu, actually, but Genjutsu is basically illusions that make people see things that aren't actually, existent. And then Ninjutsu is basically you take the physical energy and the spiritual energy of, of your essence of life, I guess, and you fuse them together and, form chakra. And then the chakra is used to create types of jutsu like fire style, lightning style, wind style, earth style, and water style. And, the first types of jutsu that we actually even get to see is one of the most infamous jutsu in all of the series, the fireball jutsu. And then we see another type of jutsu from Kakashi a little bit, even though we never really see that jutsu ever again, which is kind of hilarious. It's world building that the series, did from the start. They explained a lot of stuff in the beginning, and that's really, really good. Something that I also liked from the series is how they gave, Naruto a type of ability that's sort of unique to himself, sort of unique in itself in the sense of, out of all the other, cast members who are like basically Genin, like Naruto or Sasuke or whatever, right? Not like Kakashi or whatever. They gave him a unique type of jutsu because of the Shadow Clone jutsu. Because he had nothing going for him, and he basically, learns the Shadow Clone jutsu, and it almost seems like it was made for him, and I really like that. And then, of course, the series continues on. They beat Kakashi, and I really like the moment where he explains that, those who don't follow the rules are considered scum, but those who decide to abandon their friends are worse than scum. That scene is always, going to be really good, and it's ironic because that will come back, later on in the series once again, but then, it continues on. That's like the first handful of episodes, up until episode 5, and then the series continues on with the first arc of the series, which is the Land of Waves. And the series starts back almost immediately back to world building in the sense of the third Hokage explains, the Hokage or Kage, and then Jonin, and then Chunin, and then Genin. But I also really like how they did, again, more world building with the Kage. They explained all of the 5 Kage from all of the nations, and they also explained that each nation has their own hidden village, and those who aren't even a part of the 5 nations also even have their own villages as well, where they're basically a shinobi village. And I like how they immediately start, bringing in they start bringing in more of the other village shinobis starting with the Mist Village. And the Mist Village is renowned of being one of the most ruthless, shinobi of all the other hidden villages in all of the five great nations. We meet, two Chunin, and they easily get defeated by Kakashi. And I like how they did that scene because it shows not only how confident Sasuke is, it shows his abilities of how strong he could potentially be, and why they also explain how he's probably the number one rookie, because they did explain that before. And they also show the sheer strength of Kakashi and how strong he is. And then they bring in one of the best first arc villains of all time, which is Zabuza Momochi. Zabuza is one of the best villains that any series could start off with. Zabuza is from the Mist Village. He's ruthless. He's called the Demon of the Mist. He has the silent killing technique, and he has this big ass fucking like Buster sword and shit. He's just fucking awesome. But they have all this world building. They have this really great introduction to Kekkei Genkai. They don't explain what Kekkei Genkai is, but they have this great introduction of Kekkei Genkai with the Sharingan, and with Kakashi having the Sharingan. And it keeps the mystery behind Kakashi, and like who he really is, and how he acts, and of course his abilities. And of course he finally reveals his ability to be able to use the Sharingan. And Sasuke immediately knows how the Sharingan works, and et cetera, et cetera. And it almost seems like they're basically giving it away, like, yeah, the Sharingan is basically there of the Uchiha, and et cetera, et cetera. But they don't blatantly explain that, and they don't blatantly explain Kekkei Genkai. But they have a great introduction by showing off the Sharingan, because again, later in the series, it becomes very, very important. And then they have this really cool fight and sequence events of Kakashi versus Zabuza. I thought that was really cool. It shows off, Kakashi's abilities with the Sharingan, with him being able to copy the movements of Zabuza, and, being able to copy, the hand signs from Zabuza, and, create the water dragon jutsu, and, the water vortex jutsu. But I also like the sequence of events that Naruto and Sasuke have together when Kakashi actually gets trapped in the water prison jutsu. I thought that was so fucking cool, because it shows that Naruto, isn't an idiot, and that, Naruto and Sasuke actually work pretty decently together, and they work pretty well in a team, even though they both seem to really hate each other for some reason. It's kind of funny, but whatever, right? So all that happens, and then you meet Haku, and then, the whole surprise, like, oh, Haku is actually working with Zabuza, and then, like, the whole, like, bridge builder. They have, like, the whole, like, bridge builder, aspect where it's like, oh, yeah, they have to protect this guy because they're on a mission. They're on a mission that they were told was a C rank because that's what they were given, but it turns out this ended up becoming a B rank, and they're going against, a very deadly and powerful Jonin, kind of like Kakashi. And Kakashi, it's been said before by a couple other people, Kakashi is a stepping stone for, the peak pinnacle-ness, I guess, of a Jonin master, or a Jonin, whatever you want to say. And Zabuza was basically there to rival him, but of course Kakashi never showed his full strength. And then, like, the whole sequence of events where Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke are, learning more on chakra control. And then, again, it's more world building with how, chakra works in the universe, and that you can actually manipulate chakra to be able to do multiple things. Be it, like, if, for example, you move your chakra to the soles of your feet, and you're able to walk on water, and you're able to, run up, like, trees and walls and stuff, and buildings and shit. It's really fucking dope. And then they have a little bit more, exposition with, kind of like the subplot with Inari, like the little kid that's there, who's, the grandson of the bridge builder named Tazuna. Tazuna is kind of a funny character. I actually really enjoy Tazuna. But then, they have, like, the whole sequence of events where Zabuza and Haku finally meet back up with Kakashi, Sasuke, and Sakura, and Naruto. They're still trying to protect the bridge builder, which I haven't even talked about Haku. I think Haku is a very interesting character because Haku, as a little kid, lost, his own parents, and, he had to watch one of them get murdered by his own father, and then he killed the other one. He killed his own father, and then eventually got to a point where Zabuza found him, and because, Haku was a very, special kid because his Kekkei Genkai and how he could potentially be very strong with that, Haku essentially just became a tool for Zabuza, and that's pretty much his whole, characteristic. That's what he's mainly about. He cares for nothing else other than what Zabuza cares about. He just becomes like basically nothing besides just a weapon. But in the end, towards like the end of the fight with Naruto and Haku, after a couple other stuff happens, I'll get into that in a little bit. It gets more into exposition about, his character and how he feels. And then Naruto feels the same way. And, it's more, world building in the sense that there are characters who feel the same way like Naruto, but they go down a different path. They go down a path that's more on the darker side, that's more evil. But Naruto was finally able to find someone to push him in the right path, and now he's on this adventure of becoming one of the strongest ninja in all of the series and all of the world and universe, of course. And I really like that. I really like how they did that. I think it works really well. And like I said, Haku, his Kekkei Genkai, it's ice release, it's ice style, or whatever they called it in the dub. It's ice release though, but I really like it because it's unique, it's different, and we don't ever see it again, sadly. And I really hate that. Well, we don't see it again until a certain arc in Shippuden and in a filler arc in Boruto. Yeah. But, we don't ever see this Kekkei Genkai again, and we don't even really see anything else from it, anyways. And it's really disappointing, but it's still unique and it's different, and we don't ever see that again. And I thought that was really cool. And of course, like the whole fight with Naruto and Sasuke versus Haku, I thought that was really cool. I like how, Sasuke eventually figures out that he can awaken his Sharingan, even though, spoiler alert, it was already awoken, but whatever. He powers up and, he gets his Sharingan, and then Naruto, it turns out that whenever Naruto gets into, like, this state of kind of, like, pure rage, it almost seems like, kind of like when Goku goes Super Saiyan. I know, bad, comparison, but whatever, I'm just using that as a comparison. It's then shown that Naruto actually then gets the Kyuubi chakra from, the Nine Tails, and he gets heavily powered up from it. He gets increased strength, he gets increased speed, but of course he kind of like loses like all consciousness and, reasonability. And of course this ends up becoming, he pretty much beats Haku without, any problems whatsoever. And then they have this whole event with Kakashi versus Zabuza, and that was a good fight, even though it wasn't really, all that eventful like the first fight. I think the first fight with Kakashi and Zabuza was a little bit better, but both fights are still really good anyways. And then, they have like this whole, thing where, Zabuza is about to be killed by Kakashi, and Kakashi actually reveals a really cool jutsu called the Raikiri, or the Lightning Blade, and then Haku then sacrifices himself. He sacrifices himself, further proving the point that he's there only for Zabuza, and he's the only reason to exist for. And then he gives up his life. And it's really weird how Kishimoto, wrote this in the manga and how they brought it into the anime, because you figure out Haku's backstory, and you end up feeling bad for the character, and you almost start to sympathize for it more. And then after Haku dies and sacrifices himself from Kakashi's Raikiri, and then Gato, the main like bad guy in the background, you don't really get to see as much, and even then he's a dickhead anyways. He breaks off the deal. He's not paying Zabuza anything anymore. And then it gets to a point where, Zabuza then reveals that he does have a heart. He does have feelings, and one of the rules of, shinobi is that you're not allowed to, show emotion. You're not allowed to, like start feeling like sympathy, or you're not allowed to cry or whatever whenever you're in battle, or whenever you're a shinobi, and kind of like whenever you're Genin, whenever you're Chunin, whenever you're Chonin. And Sakura explains that, which again, more world building, but it shows more that Zabuza does have character, besides the fact that he's the Demon of the Mist, master of the silent killing technique. He has character, and it shows more that Naruto, as himself, cares for others, kind of almost more than he cares about himself, which is further pointed to the fact that earlier Sasuke almost basically died. He actually almost basically died. and that's what made Naruto start getting the QB chakra like infused within his body, and he became so strong. It's because at that point he then cared more about Sasuke than anyone else, even himself, which is really really surprising. And then Zabuza kills Gato, which, by the way, in the manga is way more gruesome. If you're really curious as to how Kishimoto did it in the manga, go look it up. It's way more brutal in the manga. It actually really is. Zabuza kills Gato, and then of course he got like stabbed a whole bunch of times, but by a couple of Gato's men, and he's just there on the ground. And then, like I explained earlier, the village from this, or the people from this poor village who's creating this bridge in order to like sell like stock, like life, like stock from their crops or whatever, trying to sell it. They finally stand up and they attack Gato's men, and they throw him out. And then they have this whole sequence of events where Haku, or Zabuza, has a moment with Haku, and you realize more for his character, and you start feeling sympathy. And again, it's really weird because they make Zabuza and Haku, the bad guy, but in the end, you almost end up bad for them, and you almost end up liking them more because of it, because you realize that they're shinobi, and they acted like shinobi, and they did what they did, but they do have character, and they do have emotion, and they are different than who they actually truly are, who they show their self as, and it's really good. And then the whole arc ends off with all four of them, Kakashi, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. They go back to the Leaf Village, and it's the end of the arc. It's a really good scene, and I really like how the fact that Tazuna names the bridge after Naruto. I thought that was kind of corny, but it's whatever. It makes sense. But I also like the line of where he says that like the name Naruto will one day be famous, which again is ironic because later on in the series, of course. But all in all, with animation, with music, and the art style, and the fight scenes, the jutsu that they showcase, world building, character development, it's all really really good, and it's a good start to a series like I almost have never seen before in anything else. It's really really good. And when I first watched it, it immediately hooked me into the rest of the series. It made me watch the rest of it, and after I was done with it, it made me more excited for actually watching the Boruto anime. And it's because of stuff like this is the reason why people compare Boruto to Naruto, right? And I've even done that before in the previous videos. Like this whole beginning sequence of like the first 5 episodes, and then all of the Land of Waves arc. Altogether, it's 19 episodes, but the Land of Waves arc is like a total of 14 episodes. And then the first like 20 or 19 episodes of Boruto are, it doesn't really feel like it's it's a Naruto series. It doesn't feel like it's Naruto. It feels like it's something else. And I get it. It's Boruto's story, and it's revolving around Boruto and his life, but it still doesn't feel anything like we're familiar with, or at least it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be an arc, because it doesn't flat out explain. It doesn't do any world building. And granted, they can't really do any world building because it's technically a spin-off or a sequel to a continuing series that is already finished. So it's really hard for Boruto to do that, and the only thing that it has going for it is the cast and the animation and the action scenes, which is really hard for it to do. But it's stuff like this, like the first arc of Naruto, that really explains like why people try to compare the two. Anyways, I kind of rambled on a lot longer than I actually really wanted to. I've been recording for almost 30 minutes, which is insane. I don't know why I was talking so much about this. I guess I was just explaining stuff like not as quickly as I thought I was going to. And like the whole like beginning sequence where I was trying to summarize like the whole like first few episodes and the arc, it was a bit longer than I actually really wanted it to be. Next time I do this, I'll try to condense it a little bit shorter. Regardless, these videos might still be pretty long regardless, because I ramble on for way too long. But regardless, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video here. I don't know when I'm gonna get the next arc of Naruto Part 1 out. It might be like probably another week. At the time I'm recording this, it's Friday, and I still need to watch the Boruto episode 67, and I still got to make a video on that. I don't know when I'm gonna get this video out. It might actually be coming out later today or tomorrow. I have no idea when this video is gonna be finished. But regardless, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to leave a like, and if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button for more videos just like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.
Drop that